Shalom Aleichem, everybody. My name is Rabbi Aharon Silberberg. I'm a rabbi in Boca Ridge, Florida, and this is Rabbi Avi Kahan, who is a Rav of Congregation Kahal New City, and as well as the founder of the Beis Din Vad Hadin V'Horah, was a Rosh Kollel, very, very involved in the issues of Agunah, of marriage, of Beis Din, and has become a good friend. There are a lot of misnomers and misconceptions that are going around right now regarding a protest scheduled for today, Tuesday, March 16th, one in Boca Ridge and one in Lakewood, regarding Aharon Silberberg giving his wife Dvorah a get. And because there's some misconceptions and mistruths that are going around, we wanted to just take a couple of moments in order to be able to clarify. Rabbi Kahan has been a mediator, has tried to represent both sides and really ultimately represent the interests of the children to be able to keep peace in the family, has heard both sides, and has tried to be a fair mediator throughout. I have also been trying to be supportive to Dvorah throughout, to do whatever I can behind the scenes to be able to help us get where we are. The rally scheduled tonight in Boca Ridge and in Lakewood, and there are those online who are calling for these rallies to be canceled because they're being told that Aharon has now agreed to go to Beis Din. So we want to give a little bit of background, a little bit of the timeline, how we got here, why the rallies are still continuing, and based on what decision that is going to be happening. The rallies have been promoted under the banner of ORA, the Organization for the Resolution of Agunos, but frankly, they did not precipitate these rallies, nor did I. There was the opportunity and the encouragement of others to be doing these rallies for the last 6 months, and yet we didn't. For the same reason many don't want it to happen now, because it's very public, it's a Chillul Hashem, it involves family members, it's painful. None of us desperately want to be doing this and have held out to doing it until now. But undoubtedly, if you're watching this, you've seen online the movement that has begun, a very positive development that has freed many women in the last few weeks alone, an outpouring of love and support to help women who are agunos, and that cat is out of the bag, so to say. That movement, that energy is happening, and that eagerness for these rallies is occurring. And the question was, should we cancel them or should they go on nonetheless? So I asked Rabbi Kahan to join me because he's been guiding me and offering me advice from the perspective of a credible, legitimate, respected Beis Din and as a dayan on what to do. And I asked him to join me to call a Adam Gadol, a major posek in Eretz Yisrael and a major posek in America, to ask both of their opinion as a psak for us of whether I should still participate in the rally in Boca Raton. And both of them, based on what we described and what we're going to tell you right now, said absolutely we should. The truth is that, Rabbi Khan, I don't know if there's anything you want to add, and then I want to share a little bit of the timeline and how we got here.
Yeah, so before Rabbi Goldberg, you share a timeline. I think it's very, very important. I want to say from my view that I did not feel, Rabbi Goldberg, you were on Dvorah's side. I think you wanted this to end over peacefully for Aharon's sake also and Dvorah. We tried for many, many months to end it over peacefully, and now we're moving forward, which we think is also going to be peacefully, that we believe Dvorah deserves a get, and it's in Aharon's best interest to give her a get, and we believe that's what he really wants to do. He's not understanding that he wants to do that yet, and we're trying to incentivize him. So we're here both for Aharon and Dvorah. Right now we're focusing that it's best for Aharon to give Dvorah a get.
Absolutely. Thank you for that clarification. 100%. I didn't mean, Khalila, that I'm taking a side. Only one side is talking to me. But of course,
No.
The goal is...
I wanted the public to know that.
Yes, the goal is to Shema Yisrael.
Exactly. So I want to say that I've been seeing on social media, I've been seeing on social media that people are posting that you're pro this protest. You want to just hurt Aharon. You have an agenda. I could tell everybody out there for being involved that there's no other agenda except actually promoting some peace and getting this case moved forward. I don't think you enjoy having this case on your docket, but we have to figure out how to move families forward in Klal Yisrael and not just stay in a stalemate.
100%. I appreciate that very, very much. My only agenda right now is the Shabbos Hagadol Drasa and answering Pesach Shilas and selling chametz, but I'd much rather be doing all that than this. And another misnomer on the internet that I'm somehow on the take, or that Dvorah's family is giving me a lot of money. Not only are they not personally giving me money, they're not members of our shul. There's not money indirectly through a membership. The goal here is singularly focused on the get, which helps everybody, the children, and helps and enables both Aharon and Dvorah to be able to go on and to move on with their lives. The beginning of this divorce conversation happened in November 2018. So we are already several years into this. Dvorah filed for divorce December 7th, 2018. And at the time, Aharon did not respond that he wanted to go to Beis Din, even though she filed in a secular court. He was served notice of the divorce January of 2019. They started to work with a mediator in January of 2019, and the motions were withdrawn with a willingness to resolve everything in mediation. And the attempt happened both with a mediator and a Dayan, the Masada Gittin in South Florida. In February 2019, they met with him, with the Rav in South Florida, to mediate and to arrange for a get. And after reaching an agreement, Aharon then consulted an attorney and decided not to sign. He walked away at that point. So there were several attempts at mediation. There was never an attempt or response by Aharon early on with an insistence of going to Beis Din. There were several stumbling blocks and hearings along the way. Aharon sent a third-part mediator in October 2019 from New Jersey for binding arbitration. Dvorah agreed immediately, and then Aharon again decided not to go. Court-ordered mediation. Aharon was disrespectful and, in fact, was excused from the attorney's office because of it. The Beis Din of America then in April 2020 sent its first hazmana for a get timing hearing to hear Aharon's side. Maybe it's legitimate why he won't give the get. Perhaps it's reasonable, perhaps it's legitimate. But he never represented his side because he did not respond to the hazmana. That was April 2020. In July 2020, the Shtar Seirav was issued. The Beis Din issued a Shtar Seirav saying that Aharon is Masar Ladin. He refused to come and to participate, to represent himself or his interests. And they issued a Seirav, which is obviously very strong against him. Since that time, in these last few months, since October 2020, so there's been a lot. Aaron's Rosh Hashiva, in conversation with Rav Kahan, who can explain, came to an agreement that Aharon says he doesn't trust Beis Din, is not going to participate in Beis Din, and wanted a layperson. They agreed to a layperson. Dvorah agreed. Again, Aharon backed out. Then, through the Rosh Hashiva, he said, I don't want a layperson, I want a Rav. A Rav was identified, Dvorah agreed, Aharon agreed, and Aharon then backed out. So each step along this way, on this entire journey, Aharon has never, even though he's come close to a finish line, he's backed out of every mediation, out of every binding arbitration of signing on with the Beis Din, out of every opportunity to mediate with a layperson or with a Rav. He simply has refused to participate, refused to even respond to the Hazmanas of the Beis Din of America. And then what changed last night was an email that came in at 10:40 p.m. that Aharon changed. Rabbi Khan, maybe you can describe.
So I received the email from you, Rabbi Goldberg. I've seen that Aharon responded last night that he would like to go to, he hired a Tayin, which is somebody who pleads your case for you in Beis Din. Like what we have in secular court lawyers, but they're unlicensed and they just plead your case for you. He hired a Tayin who represented that he would like to go to 4 Beis Dins. He didn't share an arbitration agreement. He said, like we've seen him saying previously, I actually reached out to one of the Beis Dins. They reached out to me, I reached out to them, that they said that he really wants to come to them, they claim, but I asked them to provide an arbitration agreement that shows that it's serious and that it's not just pushing everything off. We haven't seen that arbitration agreement yet. During that time, there was negotiations, and the question that we were discussing was, when he's saying that he would like to show up to a Beis Din, but we haven't seen any movement, he's not saying that he wants to give the get, does the voter now have to sit back and wait a couple of months till we decide on which Beis Din and what's going on, and not even knowing what is going to be the determination about anything, and she's willing to give up everything that she did in court, and until this day she's willing to give up everything if she gets her get. She's willing to sign an agreement, let's go to Beis Din, but let me get my get. Beis Din has no way of forcing the get, so she's giving up everything, essentially saying, I'm willing to go to Beis Din on monetary concepts, but she's not willing to, she has no guarantee for her get. So based on that, we made a phone call. It's a question that really needs das Torah. There's somebody saying that he wants to go to Beis Din. We're not sure if he's playing a shtick or not. We believe, based on the past, that there was shtick that was played. We're not sure who's guiding him, and we're not sure how this is going to end. And right now, there's some type of movement. Do we have to put a stop to this movement that's happening? We weren't the one who instigated the movement, but it's right now happening. Do we have to get out there and put a stop? And I think this was a very, very big shiloh, a severe shiloh with many ramifications. And we picked up the phone and we called one Adam Gadol in Eretz Yisrael, who, based on the information, what we're saying right now, this is the information we shared with him. And he was very adamant. And he said, if it seems like a game, then no one has to stop. She deserves her get, and she doesn't have to sign off to an option where she's giving up everything that she had in court in the last 2 years. Forget about all the legal damages, but every single thing that she has in court after he was Masarev from the Beis Din of America, now to give it up and not know if she's going to get anything. And then we weren't sure, so we called also a Rav in America, a big paisik in America, and he said the same exact thing. We were nervous. Both of them are scared to give their names, and I think it's because they're not interested in getting harassed by everyone now. That's what it seems is what happens. But they both were adamant, and I was on the phone with Rabbi Goldberg, and I could testify that they were both adamant that you're allowed to move forward, and you're allowed to continue protesting, and you're allowed to make sure that the voter gets her get.
And even though generally we don't really like when people say, I spoke to a Rav and Adam Gadol and unwilling to use their name, but in this case, it was a psak for us. So we're satisfied that we heard, we knew who we were speaking to, we got a psak, and that's what we need in order for us to proceed. And as much as we wish that we can share their signature or their name, it was a psak personally for us, and that's enough for us to proceed. So to clarify and really to make clear where we're at, is that true? An email came from a representative, Aharon, saying he's finally now willing to go to one of these batei din. But that's not a signature on a binding arbitration agreement. And that's not a hazmana back at Dvora. And it's not even a response to the hazmana Aharon received. They emailed it to me. Who am I? I'm not Dvora's Toain. I'm not a Dayan. I'm not in the Beis Din that sent the original hazmanas or the Seirav to Aharon to begin with. The proper channel and the proper means to respond would have been, if you want to undo a Seirav, the way to undo the Seirav is to get back to the place that sent the Seirav, that sent the hazmanas, which they did not do. They went through me and did not go directly to the Beis Din that had sent that Seirav. So given all those facts and given that reality, our hope and our prayer, our wish and our dream is that this get is resolved this afternoon. These rallies are canceled, and everyone, Shalom Yisrael, can go back to their Pesach cleaning and Pesach preparation. Nobody wants this. Nobody enjoys this. Nobody likes this. There's no attention. Nobody's getting anything on the table or under the table. All we want is peace and harmony and the opportunity for people both to be able to go on with their lives in a beautiful way and not to have to spend any time on this whatsoever. There is an offer right now. Devora has not only offered, she's actually put it in writing and with her signature that as soon as she receives her get, then Aharon can receive her signature on a binding arbitration in the Beis Din that he chose to resolve the other issues that he wants, financial issues and issues regarding the children. She is agreeing to revisit those very generously. She doesn't have to. They've been decided in court. She is agreeing to revisit those under binding arbitration as soon as she gets her get. All he has to do is give the get, and he will receive. She has already signed. He'll receive a binding arbitration that will allow him to take her to Beis Din, his Beis Din, the Beis Din of his choice, to resolve those outstanding issues. So the ball's in his court. He can have what he wants. He can revisit and re-adjudicate those matters that he wants in the Beis Din of his choosing, which is what he wants. All it takes is for him to get the get off the table by giving the get immediately, and there's no justifiable, no reasonable reason not. Rav Khan, do you agree? Is there ever a reason for a man to be withholding a get, particularly when the other party is willing to do exactly what they want?
No, so I agree with you, Rabbi Goldberg, 100%. And I want to stress it that Devora is willing to sign every financial aspect, even what she already won in court, even though she had a heter from the Beis Din of America to go to court. They're the ones who told her she could go to court after Aharon was Mesarev. And she's willing now to reopen everything. She's willing to reopen every single thing to lose, and the Beis Din of his choice, where she's not saying she trusts that Beis Din. She realized that she doesn't have a choice. She would like to go to the Beis Din of America, but she's willing to give that up and put millions of dollars on the line because he could go after her for everything. She's giving that choice to a third-party person. The only thing they cannot decide is about the get because they have no enforceability. And she's saying, I don't want to stay married to you anymore. It hurts. It's painful. But now she wants to move on and he has to move on. So I really think right now there's no excuse for him not giving the get. If she's willing to sign it, she is willing to sign. Every single matter could be adjudicated. Every monetary, he wants money for the get. Let Beis Din rule if he deserves money for the get. And if they rule yeah, he'll get. If they rule not, she won't give. But to hold that after the Din Torah, when it's finished, he says, oh, I don't want to listen to the Beis Din because I'm holding the get, I don't think that's fair to ask her to do such a thing. And therefore, we called Rabbanan, we asked them the Shaila, and we presented her, and she was willing, which was amazing to see. She was willing right away. I'll sign anything. I'm willing to risk every single thing. Children, the money, every single thing she's willing to go under arbitration. But the only thing that the arbitrators cannot enforce is the get that she wants upfront. And I think that's a reasonable ask.
Agree. So to be clear, yes, Aharon finally, late last night, due to a lot of pressure that's being asserted, thank you, the community, Klal Yisrael, who are standing up and who care and who want to make a difference, clearly that has moved something along. Through a third party, Aharon's indicated, yes, he would go to one of these batei din, but he didn't sign the binding arbitration agreement, and he didn't send it back to the place that issued the seirav against him. He indicated through a third party. Is that legitimate movement or not? Who knows? It's yet to be seen. But Devora is taking him at his word, and therefore taking one of the batei din that he suggests and says, yes, I'll go with you there for the other matters, give the get, take it off the table, then we'll go to the Beis Din. It's inexcusable. There's not a legitimate reason in the world or on the planet to now not proceed. Let him give the get, go to the Beis Din for the rest of it, and everybody can go back. And Amir Hashem, that will happen before tonight. If it doesn't, however, we call upon everybody to help us, to not stand idly by, but to let our voices be heard. And we do so with the confidence of having gotten the psak and the das Torah of two Gedolei Yisrael. In Boca Raton, 5 p.m. today, in front of the Boca Ridge development, Boca Ridge Drive, off of Glades Road, 5 p.m. in front of the Boca Ridge development, and in Lakewood at 8 p.m. in front of 133 5th Street in Lakewood at 133 5th Street in Lakewood. We hope it's unnecessary, and we hope to issue another video soon, quickly, to call for canceling it and to celebrate Baruch Hashem. There is a dissolution peacefully of this marriage, and everybody could move on. But if it doesn't happen, please, can Dvorah count on you? Can Aharon count on you in order to help this end in the best way possible with the encouragement that clearly it needs from all of you? Khan, any closing thoughts?
Okay. Any closing thoughts? I wish we could end this off with shalom. This is needed for both of them. Aharon needs to give her a get because he needs to move on, and Dvorah needs her get because she needs to move on. They're not getting back together. If there was a chance, and I want the public to know this, I felt the whole entire time that if there was a chance that we would have seen a possibility of shalom bayis, the Rabbanim wanted shalom. If it's shalom bayis, great. If it's shalom getting divorced, that has to happen sometimes. Also, it's sad, but it needs to happen. And we're in a situation that something needs to happen right now. And we really need to see, we really need to hear good news. We don't want this protest. We want things to move forward and things to end properly.
Thank you so much for all of your input and all of your advice and all of your wisdom and expertise as a dayan in Beis Din, firsthand knowing the whole system and knowing exactly what's appropriate and inappropriate ways to respond or to go forward. And in Mirz Hashem, we should be able to resolve this issue and every case of Agunahs. And in this season of Geula and the season of freedom, we should celebrate everybody's freedom and celebrate our collective Geula.